Hey Tacoma, it's Abby. Welcome to our 8th Flash Poetry Workshop. On tap this week, we're going to be talking about writing where you are. When the artist and editor at Represent Editorial, Jesi Hanley Vega, sent a couple of her poems my way, I knew right away what I wanted to talk about in this workshop: place. So when I sit down to write, I'll admit, probably most times when I sit down to write, I become so focused on the story or the truth that needs to be told that narrative tends to overwhelm everything from music to mindfulness. I lose track of the significance of place. And place has become even more crucial and also more frustrating as we've been staying home during the pandemic. So the poems you're about to hear from Jesi really remind us of the significance and also the power of place. So I give you Jesi Hanley Vega.
Hi, Abby. Thanks for inviting me to read some poetry. I'm going to read 3 poems today. The first one is called My White Oak. My white oak tree reaches out to me and also down, to the sidewalk and up to the sky. My white oak tree stands outside my window, like a nanny, like a teacher, a parent, a companion, a guard, just out of reach, looking in at me and in on me, embracing but never touching me, teaching me things that can only be felt, that trees are alive, that they have a language of their own, that trees can be friends, secret holders, and confidants. My white oak tree, tall, gangly, awkward, a skinny-boned governess, always single, never loved, a spinster with one job alone. My white oak tree, home to squirrels and sparrows, naked in winter, gangly gray, gnarled and jointed, then flourishing again, dressed in light green yellow springtime. Is it a she or a he? Do trees have gender or only presence? This is the second one. It's called The Secrets of My Neighborhood. The white oak, the squirrels, the dandelions, the glacial rock, the onion grass, the acorns, the mimosa, the mulberries, the sunset, the park, the swans, the frozen lake, the summer lake. This is the last one. It's called The Sounds of My Street. The basketball, ka-chunk, the handball, ka-pink, the paddleball, ka-thwunk, the sacrificed chicken in a paper bag, ooh, the boombox blaring, the prince, the kids on stone walls getting high, talking shit, the firecracker, rat-a-tat. That was no firecracker. My brother, oh shit. How do you write the whine of an ambulance? How do you spell the beep of a cop car? How do you write the memory out of your body? Thank you. So those were three poems about the neighborhood where I grew up.
These poems grow from place, and they contain movement, characters, story. In The Secrets of My Neighborhood, we are given these natural images that might otherwise escape our notice: the glacial rock, the dandelions, the onion grass. And we begin to perceive this community of humans living within the natural world and also living almost on the outside of it. As we often perceive ourselves, we're going through the world rather than as part of the world and a living experience. So these poems are really helpful in that they help me perceive the observed world and also the world that I am part of. And this reminds me of something that is called simultaneous perception. Simultaneous perception is a concept discussed by Tony Hiss in his book, The Experience of Place. There we go, my old weather-beaten copy. I want to share just one paragraph from the chapter Simultaneous Perception, just to help clarify what this term really means. Ordinarily, we seem to be completely separate from everything and everyone in our surroundings. And our sense of external things, if not of other people, is that they are waiting around until we can find something for them to do. At moments when the boundaries flow together, perhaps even disappear, a different sense emerges. Walking through a landscape, we have the sense that the plants and animals around us have purposes of their own. At the same time, our sense of ourselves now has more to do with noticing how we are connected to the people and things around us as part of a family, crowd, community, a species, the biosphere. Since the quantum revolution in physics 60 years ago, it has become relatively easy to think that at the submicroscopic level, an electron or a photon of light can be both a particle and a wave. In the last couple of years, researchers have found that peptides in the human immune system, substances large enough to be seen through a microscope, can also show both particle behavior and wave-like behavior. And now we're finding that the same thing is true of our perceptions of ourselves. Through one system of perception, we see ourselves as observers of an environment composed of separated objects. But at the same time, through another system of perception, equally active, we look for ways in which we are connected to or are part of our surroundings. This brings me to our first prompt. What Tony Hiss is urging us to understand is that there are multiple forms of perception, different ways for us to perceive the world and ourselves. And as poets and as people, we can become really accustomed to perceiving the world as an observer only. We are on the outside looking in to the world around us, or even on the outside looking in on the world of ourselves. However, as poets and as people, we're really looking for those ways in which we are connected to and we are part of the world around us. So one of these prompts is pushing you to perceive the individual objects around you in the world, the observed world. And one of them is pushing you to understand the story, your personal story that is inherent in the objects that are around you and how you perceive them. Your first prompt is to go to a place, if possible, where you don't remember using simultaneous perception explicitly. So somewhere that you pass on a daily basis, whether it is the doorway from your kitchen, or if it is the corner of the street by the gas station, or where you park your car to pick up groceries. Go somewhere where when you're there, you are usually focused on a task or something else that's kind of removing that conscious thought of where you are and what is around you. And start by writing, make it a list if you need to. Write what is there, what's around you. Be specific, use concrete detail. Really slow yourself down and look and listen, smell, really get a sense of what is there. Then when you have that list, go back and focus on some of those individual objects. See if you can unearth any stories in those different objects. Your second prompt is to write a poem that recreates with concrete detail where you grew up or where you feel that you belong, and avoid using explanation. Only recreate through objects, sensory detail, where this place is. At the end of this, you want to be able to look back and see this place and the relationships between the objects there start to create the story rather than you injecting explanation and descriptions of the meanings of these objects. So those are your two writing prompts for the week. Go ahead and send me any drafts at gritcitypoetlaureate@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing what you've come up with. Thank you to Jesi Hanley Vega, artist, editor, and writing instructor at SODA in Tacoma. I love your poems, so thank you for sharing those with us. You can learn more about Jesi's work at representeditorial.com. I will see you next week for one more Poem Friday Flash workshop, and then we have some changes coming up on the horizon. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Have a good week, everybody. Okay, got this.